Hey everyone, this is Allison with Couture Fitness and Lifestyle Coaching. And today I'm going to talk to you guys about how to track your macros. So I'm going to share my screen. I've got a presentation prepared. And this is definitely geared towards beginners. If you've been doing this for a while, I think you'll still benefit from some pieces of this for sure, especially the pieces where I talk about setting your macros, but this is definitely geared towards beginners who have not really tracked before. All right. So this is just a brief introduction of us at Couture Fitness. That's me. I'm one of the founders. I'm a certified sports nutritionist. And then my business partner, Joe, is a certified life coach. And in addition to this, we have both been in the bodybuilding world for many years. We've both done, we've competed, we've done competitions, we've helped others with their physiques. And we're just very, very passionate about helping women and men, but especially women, achieve bodies that they love, while also living lives that they love. Okay, so why should I track my macros? Several reasons. One, just being in the habit of tracking makes you accountable. It's a lot more difficult to maybe, sneak in a few handfuls of M&Ms without realizing it if you know that you have to eventually track that in an app. It can give you data to make decisions. So if you don't really know what you're doing, you have no idea what you might need to change in order to make physique changes. Along the same lines, it just brings awareness. You might have no idea whether you are overeating, whether you are undereating. Many women are actually undereating. I think we've been told, especially as females, that, we should try to eat as little as possible, or this food is bad, or that food is bad, or we should avoid this entire food group. And it doesn't leave a lot that you feel safe eating. And so a lot of women are undereating, which is actually just as bad for many things, your health and your physique, as overeating can be. So tracking can help bring awareness to what you're eating, maybe shed some light on whether you are eating enough or eating too little. And then it can also show where you might be lacking in certain macronutrients, particularly protein, but you can definitely be lacking in the other ones as well. Okay, so what are macros? Macros, it's just a short word for macronutrients, not to be confused with micronutrients, which would be like vitamins and minerals. So like vitamin D, iron, those would be micronutrients. But the macronutrients are protein, carbs, and fats. And so I've got right here, you can see that protein, a gram of protein, it's 4 calories per gram. So are carbs. Fats are 9 calories per gram. And then fiber, it's not its own macro. But some tracking tools actually do subtract fiber from their total calorie amount that they give you. Okay, so some sources of each macro. Protein, I'm not going to read this whole entire list here, but most meats are going to be very high in protein, protein powder, some dairy products. Greek yogurt is great. Even things like milk has a lot of protein. Eggs, egg whites, cheese, fish, tofu, those are all good sources of protein. Protein bars also, they come with a lot of some of the other macronutrients as well. So protein bars are going to probably have a lot more carbs and some fats, but they're still a good source of protein. Okay, carbs, fruits and vegetables, grains, oats, milk and yogurt. I'm listing those here again. While they are a good source of protein, they're also a really good source of carbs. And then starches like sweet potatoes. Obviously, things like candy, of course, is definitely a carb source. I'm not necessarily a good carb source, but there is room in most healthy diets to have some treats in there as well. So of course, things like chocolate, sugary candy, that's going to be a carb, of course, mostly carb and fat usually. And then fats, avocado, peanut butter, cheese, flax seeds, butter, things like that are some good fat sources. Okay, so how do I start tracking my food? If I've never done it before, where do I even begin? It probably can seem very overwhelming. I remember when I first started tracking my food, I downloaded an app and I tried it for maybe 5 minutes and I hated it and I didn't use it again for another year. And I wish I would have just dug in and said, I'm just going to do this, because once I did that the second time around, a year after I initially downloaded an app, I loved it, and it's super easy now. And I feel like I spend maybe 2 to 3 minutes a day actually tracking my food. So just download an app. I like MyFitnessPal. I know there are others out there that other people enjoy, but I've always used MyFitnessPal, and I feel like it's got pretty much everything that I need. You do not need the paid version. The free version is perfectly adequate. And then just start putting everything you eat into there, and don't worry at first about being perfect. Just do your best. Do not let perfect be the enemy of good. Just start putting in there, everything you're eating. Try to be as accurate as possible, but when you're getting started, don't worry about being super accurate down to the gram. And I say that, and my last bullet point says consider getting a food scale. Once you've gotten past the, okay, I know how to track my food and it's not as intimidating, if you want to be accurate, there are definitely certain items that I think, especially at first when you're newer to tracking your food, that you might want to measure out. So things like peanut butter, it's really easy to overeat peanut butter, or to be a little bit off with what you think is, let's say, a tablespoon. So it's very easy to dip a tablespoon into a jar of peanut butter and think, okay, that's a tablespoon of peanut butter, when in reality, it could be 2 tablespoons of peanut butter. And so you're actually eating 100 calories more than you realized, even though you thought you were just eating 1 tablespoon. So if you do want to get more precise, consider a food scale. I've done that. I've weighed certain things out before, and I've honestly gotten to a point now where I pretty much eyeball everything. I never get my food scale out anymore. But it's still nice it's nice to have, especially in the beginning when you are just getting used to tracking and getting used to portion sizes. Okay, here's some screenshots from MyFitnessPal. That first one on the left, it's just a sample of some food that I ate on a given day. It looks like that was my last snack of the day. So it looks like I had some protein pancakes. I like to have them with some chocolate and peanut butter and maple syrup. And then it looks like I had room, and I had some mini Snickers as well. So I usually, my macros are pretty high right now. And when you're eating 2,000 calories a day, it's pretty easy to fit things in like that. So it looks like that is what I had for my last snack of the day. And then the second screenshot is just showing weekly averages. You can see I have one day where I've hardly eaten anything, but I think I took the screenshot, it looks like at 11:10 a.m. So I'd probably only eaten a meal or two in that day, but you can easily see your weekly average. You can see your breakdowns of carbs, fats, and protein. And if you're curious, you can see your percentages there. And then a nice little trick, if you turn your phone sideways, you can see your totals by each macro. And I know the way I screenshot this, you really can't tell which column is which. But I think that first column, well, the first column is calories, and then it's carbs, fats, protein. Then I think it's fiber. And I think the last one might be sugar. So that's just a nice little trick if you want to see where you're at with any given macro total throughout the day. Okay, so now we know how to track, but how do you actually set your target that you want to hit for each macro? So I would say, first of all, do not use the preset goals that MyFitnessPal will give you. If you are a female and you tell MyFitnessPal that you want to lose weight, it's pretty much automatically going to put you on a 1,200 calorie diet, which I hate. No one should need to be on a 1,200 calorie diet in order to lose weight. If you are at a spot where you can only lose weight by eating 1,200 calories, you definitely need to do some work on your metabolism to get yourself to a better spot to where you can diet successfully on more food. And so that's why I say do not use MyFitnessPal's preset goals. I would work with somebody who understands macros, who is going to talk to you about your dieting history that can help you set a better target. But one thing I would say is definitely shoot for at least 100 grams of protein a day, no matter what you weigh. I would say everyone should be getting in at least 100 grams of protein. If you're way below that, walk yourself up slowly, gradually get used to it. And eventually, where we like to see everybody is eating 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per pound of their goal body weight. Another little tip is to plan your days in advance when possible. So if you know maybe you're going to be eating pizza tomorrow night, put that in first so you can plan the rest of your day around it. And then we've found that protein is the most challenging macro for people to get enough of. So I would suggest starting by planning out your protein sources and building everything else around there. It's really easy to get in more carbs and more fats, but protein requires a little bit more advanced planning. So I would suggest by starting with, protein, and then if there's any special events that you want to enjoy a treat for, like I mentioned, the pizza, put those in advance as well if you can. Okay, how do you know when you need to make changes? So you can definitely search online and try to figure out how to set and then change your macros. But just like anything that, you might fumble around with it. You might second guess yourself. And so I think this is definitely a spot where it would be beneficial to work with a coach in the short term. And what a good coach should be able to help you get to a spot where you will eventually know what your macros should be. And you can set them and make changes yourself. Remember that the goal is not to eat as little as possible. Our goal is not to, set our macros and try to stay as far under them as possible. That's not what we want to do. Our goal should be to eat as much as we can while still progressing towards our goal. So we want to be in a spot where we are dieting on as much food as possible, but still losing weight. That is the ultimate goal for everyone if they want to keep their weight off long term. Okay, so here's some transformation stories. We have all of our clients track macros at least for some period of time. So on the left, you can see Lauren came to us eating about 1,100 calories a day. She knew she was under eating, but I think she was just afraid of what would happen if she ate more. And finally, she said, "You know what? I know I've got to make a change. I can't sustain this forever, or I'm going to, my metabolism will end up in an even worse spot if I just keep doing this year after year." And so when she came to us, we started gradually getting her calories up. By the end of 12 weeks, she was eating 1,800 calories a day. She's now eating even more than that. And she actually lost about 5 pounds during this time. And she said she tightened up so much that she looks like she lost 10 pounds. While she was doing that, we got her cardio down. She was also doing a lot of cardio. So now she's lifting weights 4 days a week and doing 45 minutes of cardio total per week. And so what her ultimate goal is, she's now been eating this in our healthy, what we consider a healthy range of 1,800 to 2,200 calories a day. She's been doing this now for about 6 months, I would say. And her goal ultimately is to be able to cut on higher calories than what she was eating before and actually lose weight. So I think she's going to start a calorie cutting phase again in a couple more months, but her body will be in a really good spot and she should respond very well. And then on the right, we have another story, Andrea. She came to us, she was not under eating, which is great. And that really enabled her to lose her goal, which was 10 pounds in a very short time period of 8 weeks. She lost most of this while eating about 1,600 calories a day. We did bring her down to about 1,500, maybe for the last 1 or 2 weeks. And then she hit her goal. And so what we did is we immediately started to reverse her calories back up. We got her up to 2,000. She stayed at her goal weight, which was 115 pounds for, I don't even know how many months, 3 or 4 months. And I eventually backed off even more of her cardio. So here you can see I've listed that she's doing 10,000 steps a day. We've backed that down to 8,000 steps a day. She's eating more like 2,100 calories a day. She's gone up a little bit in weight. She's at about 117, but she wants to add a little bit of muscle. And so we actually want her to gain some weight. And if she decides that she wants to lose a couple of pounds, she's eating so much and doing so little cardio that she will have a very, very easy time cutting a few pounds off if that's what she wants to do again at some point in the future. But again, we would not have known how to do this if they weren't tracking their food. You can't make changes if you have no idea what you're doing to begin with. Okay, so some of the benefits of having a coach to help you out with this. Yes, like I mentioned earlier, you could do some internet research and figure this out. But do you want to take the time to do that? Maybe you do, which is great. And maybe you don't. Maybe you just want somebody to tell you exactly what your body needs, help you figure this out very quickly so you can stop spinning your wheels. They will help you hold you accountable. If you need to actually eat more, they can help you get over the fear. There's actually a lot of fear for many people in eating more. They can help you with that. They can definitely tell you when you need to push and when you need to take a break. you're not just going to diet straight through for, let's say, 6 months. You need to do that in cycles. If you have 20 or more pounds to lose, you probably need to do that in a couple of different dieting cycles in order to keep your metabolism healthy. And so they can help you with that. They can help you set those long-term plans and just help you with some strategies to overcome obstacles that have been problems for you in the past. Okay, so that's really all I've got on how to track macros for beginners. Absolutely reach out if you have any questions. You can find us here on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, our website, all of those spots. You should be able to find out how to email us from there as well. It's just info@couturefitnesscoaching.com. We are more than happy to answer any questions you might have. We also do weight loss strategy calls. So if you want to schedule a strategy call, you can do that from our any of those places as well. We do 15-minute phone calls where we just talk through, problems that you might be having, and we can help you figure out a plan. And I will leave you with this last thing. Just get started. You do not have to be perfect to start tracking your food. Just get started. It gets a lot easier, and don't let perfect be the enemy of good. So that's all I've got for today. Thanks for listening. Reach out if you have any questions.